sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Should I be saying something else right now? How should I start this, Manny?
I don't know. I'm 0-3. I'm 0-3 in our league, so I'm depressed.
Mike, how should I start?
I'm 0-3 as well, and I'm supposed to be an expert, and I don't feel like one. So
bottoms up.
Well, for our league, I'm 2-1, so I'm the one that could officially say, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you guys are listening to this, and whenever you guys are watching this. We are in the fourth week of fantasy football. We are in, what is it, 25%, just about 25% in all of fantasy. And that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome each and every one of you to the sponsor.
You better drink the whole thing. There you go.
Next up, fantasy show. It's your boy, Will. Back again with my two co-hosts. Ready to have a little fun, to have a little excitement. But let's introduce the other two that I'm actually talking about. Let's go ahead and go through Mr. Detroit What, who we're actually going to talk about in just a little bit. Not Manny specifically, but we're going to talk about someone in Detroit in just a minute. Mr. Manny being Manny, how you doing?
Good. There's been riots. The Lions are 2-1, and they think they won the Super Bowl. I've seen cars flipped. I've seen fires on streets just because they beat the Packers. The Packers ran by Jordan Love. They need to calm down a little bit. Is all I'm going to say. They're going to be heartbroken. I keep hearing, let us live. We're 2-1. We haven't been 2-1 in forever. We're in first place. Well, guess what? I still think you guys are a little overrated.
And they're 3-1. I'm not going to rub that in, but that's okay.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Because they won yesterday.
Yeah, they're 3-1. Who have they played besides the Chiefs without Travis Kelce or Chris Jones?
Just Taylor Swift at that game?
No. If Taylor Swift was at that game, Lions had no shot.
There you go. Let's do a let's get a rematch then with Taylor Swift in there. Mr. Mike Thesis, what up? What up? How you doing today?
What's up, man? I'm in Rams and Charger territory, and Charger fans are feeling a little down, but they did win last week, so good for them. Good for Kellen Moore. And Ram fans, hey, they're just happy they found Puka, so we're piecing it together.
With the return of Cooper Kupp imminent after this week, he is going to be returning, and no telling what the Rams are going to be looking like now that they actually have a decent looking, well, on paper anyway, a decent looking wide receiver 2 on their team. So who knows what's going to happen. And speaking of people who are coming back, a little bit of breaking news from earlier today, the gambling situation. They ended up reducing the games as far as how many games are you're going to be suspended if you ever do it again and things of that nature. And so because of that, Detroit rejoice. It is the return of Jameson Williams. He's coming back. He'll be available for week 5. And with as hot as this team is right now, and Manny's people are reminding him every single day of that. 3-1. Real quick, just a quick response. I'll start with Mike. What's your immediate reaction to Jameson Williams coming back, and what does it mean for fantasy players?
Hey, well, Jameson Williams, welcome back to the league, man. Hasn't been the same without you, but we're so happy that you're back. But no, fantasy players, I don't know. In his limited time that he played last year, I really didn't do much. I think that this team kind of has a role, and I think that his role in the team is going to have to be decided. They have Khalif Raymond getting yards. Amon St. Roggen yards. Seems to be that Montgomery is their main focus. Unfortunately for us Gibb owners, Montgomery seems to be that guy. So, yeah, there you go. So I wouldn't be too excited. Not to say that he's not going to help. He'll help from in a reality standpoint. He's another weapon they can put out there. But from a fantasy standpoint, I'm not really too high on Jameson Williams. If you stashed him, deploy him. I mean, you obviously if you stashed him, you feel better about him than I do. But I'm not really expecting Jameson Williams to do big things. It's not initially, at least. And we'll see how it goes. But he's not somebody I'm expecting to make a huge impact in fantasy, just because I feel like availability is the best ability, and he hasn't been able to be available. So I would say temper your enthusiasm with Jameson Wilson. But maybe my co-hosts feel differently. We'll see.
I don't know. Let's go ahead and ask him, Mike. Manny, what do you think?
I love you, Mike. You called Jameson Williams Jameson Wilson.
Oh, my bad.
And you called Amon-Ra St. Brown Amon-Ra.
Did I? Dang, I'm tripping. It's Friday, man. I'm a teacher. It's been a long week with these kids.
When you said Amon-Ra, I was like,
Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Wilson. For those who don't think I can enunciate. I can say things.
Well, you can enunciate, but you still said Jameson Wilson.
My bad. And I'm telling you that I didn't know that I had said that. So
I'm not saying it's down here.
Bad.
But it's down here.
We make mistakes, or at least I do. I'm gonna be on y'all all season for this. Don't say shit.
No edits. No, we on one take. We on one take over here.
Oh, that was good.
Manny, what's on your mind with Jameson and what it means for everybody?
I think they got their deep threat. Their deep threat that they kind of needed. Jameson Williams reminds me, he's talented wise. He's probably the most talented wide receiver on the wide receiver core for the Lions. I think Mike might think Amon-Ra, but I think Jameson. You remember him at Alabama? The dude's a monster.
I do.
Hopefully,
yes.
I guess in college it hasn't translated in the NFL because he hasn't played. So, but in college he was definitely the better athlete. So we'll see. I picked him up in our league. I might have made a mistake because I dropped Josh Palmer, because I don't have anyone else to really drop, which is crazy to think about when you're 0-3. You kind of figure it out. There's going to be a lot of people to drop. I don't know who to drop. So, but yeah, I picked him up just to see what's going on. I think it might hurt Sam Laporta, if anybody. Sam Laporta was kind of like that second kind of like clutch for Jared Goff, but now if he has Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra, it's going to be tough to stop them too.
Facts. And that's actually a good point to bring up. Sam Laporta doing monstrous numbers so far in the tight end position. He's the number 2, I believe, actually right now, in tight end rankings, and of course he's just a rookie. It's really going to be interesting to see how Jameson Williams is going to be deployed. And once again, just like you said, if Laporta is going to decline, so there's always that possibility. So we'll just generally see in the future. So once again, welcome back, Jameson Williams. So let's go ahead and get back to the show, to the original show. We'll try to make this a little bit quick. First topic. Let's talk about what happened in Miami. Without Jalen Waddle, the Miami Dolphins team has been a team who we always looked at about the passing attack. If you checked out our AFC East preview, we mainly just talked about the passing game of the Miami Dolphins, and it's even to the point where our guest host Mike Liu even praised the passing team or the passing attack a little bit, just a little bit, because he's still Bills. But without Jalen Waddle, at first part of the game, yes, Tyreek Hill did his thing, scored his touchdown, did what Tyreek usually does. Shout out to him. And then from there, the running attack where we were really, really down on ended up exploding. a total of 4 touchdowns each for Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane. So the question that I actually have here, and I put it in the chat. So the question that I have here is: Miami this good, or is Denver that bad? Let me go ahead and go to Manny first on this question.
So I think Denver is bad. I made a mistake in preseason when I said Denver's going to be better this year. I think they're probably worse, it seems like. I thought their defense would have been good, but as you could see on Sunday, they couldn't stop anything. Yes, Miami, on the other hand, is a good team, but they are sporadic. They're just like last year. They'll go for like high points and then they'll take a dump, and then they'll go high, take a dump. So we got to see it more often with the Miami Dolphins. Yes, they're a great offense, but I'm curious how they're going to do this week against the Bills, because I could see them coming back down to earth and potentially lose this game. So I don't know. I think the Denver Broncos might be that bad.
And I'm actually going to throw this out there. We're going to talk about the team next, but on a couple of leagues that I'm in for the defense, if it's not one of the higher tier defenses that I have, I'm actually gambling on that said Denver defense against who they're playing. You saw who they're playing this week?
Yeah, your boys.
That being said, all right. So, and we'll talk about them in a minute, and it's going to be on the next subject. But Mike, give me your thoughts about this offensive explosion and whether or not if Miami is the real deal, or is Denver just out of their gourd bad?
Yeah, no doubt. I'm completely sold on Miami. If for those of us who understand football from the X and O's, perspective, what they're doing is they're playing simple spread offense, and they have a lot of pieces they can manipulate because of the speed that they possess on offense. Mike McDaniels is back there, kind of like Willy Wonka in it. He has everlasting gobstoppers in this hand, and he has a chocolate fountain in this hand. He can do whatever he wants to do with the guys that he has to do, with the guys that he has, and the offense that he has set up. They have speed. Raheem Mostert can run. Tyreek Hill, we know, can run. Kane can run. So what he's doing is he's like playing chess, and he's using these chess pieces and manipulating it in crazy ways. And I don't see that stopping. I really don't. I think that they're a team that has a lot of weapons, and offensively they're going to be able to attack, and they're probably not going to score less than 30 points at any point this year. Or at least they have the potential to score 30 in just about every game. So I'm completely sold on Miami. If you have any of those players, go ahead and deploy them. I think they're going to be tearing up the league all year.
So I have Devon Achane, and I showed you guys this last week when it all went down. I had Devon Achane on my bench, and of course, no one expected this to actually happen out of him. Yeah. So my quick question about that is: do you guys believe that Devon Achane is going to be somewhat of a pillar, let's say, for the Miami offense? Do you feel that it's going to be Mostert and Achane 1-2, or do you feel that Jeff Wilson, when he gets back, Achane takes a back seat?
I think Achane's role is probably cemented after the performance that he had, at least for a little while. As long as he doesn't disappoint, I think that he's solidified himself at the number 2 pack, almost maybe even a 1A or 1B, to Raheem Mostert's 1A. I think Jeff Wilson will probably be the outside guy looking in. When you have a performance like Achane had, I think it's kind of hard to relegate him to bench duties after he did what he just did.
Right. Benny?
What scares me about the run game when Jeff Wilson comes back. Will, where did Mike McDaniel coach before this?
You know where he coached.
And what did he do with his 3 running backs?
And you mean at least 2 of those running backs that are there right now?
Mitchell, Moser, and Jeff Wilson.
Yep. He made them. Not only did he make them acceptable running backs, but he also did legitimately run them to the ground.
Wasn't some of that due to injury though? I mean, those guys were constantly getting. I mean, Elijah
Well,
Mitchell.
I think that's the point that Manny's about to make.
Okay.
Yeah, they're always injured, and it could give. I mean, A-Chain was hurt as well this year, but he does like to do the three-headed monster as well. There's one game I remember at the 49ers. There's one game where Mostert goes off. The next game, you would think to start Mostert, and Jeff Wilson goes off, and then everyone picks Jeff Wilson. And then the next game, Elijah Mitchell goes off. Like, he will use whatever like ability is the best back for against that team. That's who he would use, and that's what's scary. If to start all these, like, because people are going to be high. I mean, Jeff Wilson is a good running back as well.
Yes.
You're going to be really high on A-Chain, and I'm too nervous that he might not even play as much when Jeff Wilson and comes back as well. I mean, those are his backs for a while at the San Francisco. He reached out to your boy, your coach, and was like, "I want these two running backs."
Now, the other reason why I'll slimly disagree with that is because of the fact that they actually went out and actually legitimately drafted A-Chain. So it's not one of those where it's like, oh, we don't want anything to do with him, or we don't have a choice but to have him play. But they, just like you said with the other running backs, they reached out and actually picked Devon A-Chain in this case.
Counter is they reached out and grabbed Chase Edmonds last year.
Chase Edmonds, what is he up to again? He plays somewhere. I forgot where he plays. He's out there now, and man, that was a disaster. But at least A-Chain's a rookie, so we'll just generally see how that goes. But I'll go ahead and agree with both of you that Miami is looking like a force. We somewhat talked about that last year as well, with the trades and the picks and all that. Them picking up Tyreek Hill, they have the right stuff. They have the right, or they made the right moves. And now it looks like it's slowly starting to come into fruition, and they still have so many more picks. So
I would hold your like excitement for this game though, because people are going to think that they're going to go off again. But the Bills' defense is pretty good.
I don't expect them to go off again, but I do expect them to at least try, at least compete a lot better than most teams.
Yeah.
So we'll just generally see, like, I mean, as of right now, we can't deny that they're pretty much on top of the world right now. So the team that they beat, Denver, has been a pretty big disappointment so far this league. The Chicago Bears, a lot of people had high expectations with Justin Fields and DJ Moore as far as them doing the most, with the possibility of comparing them to AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts, respectively. And there's a multitude of other teams that we've seen that is playing horribly. I'm looking at you, Arizona. I'm looking at you, to an extent, Houston. I'm looking at you, Carolina. So with so many disappointments, overall, the next question becomes, who's the worst team in the NFL, and why is it the Bears? I'm gonna go ahead and go to. Looks like Mike had something to say, so go ahead and go first.
Not really. I mean, we just talked about the worst team in the league. When you get beat when somebody puts up 70 points on you, I'm going to say you're the worst team in the league. So the worst thing in the league is the Broncos, and that's why it's not the Bears, because the Broncos just got 70 points put up on them. So until they can win a game, I'm going to go ahead and say Denver is the worst team in the league. But one silver lining is that they don't have the worst coach in the league. They have a better coach than Chicago. So hopefully Sean Payton can piece something together to get them out of the rut that they're in right now. But they're the worst team in the league as far as I'm concerned.
Very good take. Manny?
I think the Bears and the Panthers are going to be fighting for the worst team in the league. I take back what I said about Houston, because I actually think that they have some pieces that they won't be competing, but they're not like at the bottom. Like Bears and Panthers. Adam Thielen's leading that wide receiver core for the Carolina Panthers. I guess the Carolina Panthers does have defensive pieces. So there's that. But the Bears all around are just so bad. I don't even know if Justin Fields starts by the end of the year or next year.
That's a little bit harsh, don't you think?
No.
Bears aren't giving up 70.
No.
Is that Mike? Is that gonna be your?
That's my lot. Yeah, that's my underlining point. Bears aren't giving. I haven't seen anybody give up 70 in my entire life. So yeah, they're the worst. They're the worst team in the league. Period. That's where I'm at with it.
Well, in at least in whatchamacallit, at least in pro football. I mean, in fairness, like it's only been done 2 other times. In fairness, in the history, it's been only done 2 more times.
We'll see who the worst team is because they play each other this week.
That's facts. And on top of that, well, actually no, because I'm somewhat of a believer in Washington because the Bears play the Commanders on a Thursday again. They did that last year, didn't they? Last year or the year before?
I think they did. I don't think the Commanders are the worst team in the league.
No, Commanders at least have. They're okay.
I thought it was the Cardinals, but well.
Can't say that. Huh?
I wasn't going to say anything about that, but there you go. But yeah, like I feel, I kind of have to feel that it is Chicago, and it's genuinely because like, and I guess it's kind of based on what the expectation of Chicago was, as far as at least being decent, being acceptable. They didn't have to be great; they just had to be decent, and they're not even that. Like the amount of touchdowns that the Bears have that the Bears have overall. David Montgomery did that all by himself so far this year. It's gonna change, of course, because Bears are gonna play this weekend. But just the fact that they have the availability, or that the Bears they don't have the same identity as they did before. They were once a fierce defense, even when the offense was bad. The offense went from bad to somewhat a little bit worse than what was actually expected, and they actually went out and got a decent wide receiver, and this is the same wide receiver who's played with terrible quarterbacks in Carolina and Cam Newton, and overall, like
whoa. Cam Newton took him to the Super Bowl.
No, that was the point I was making. They played with terrible quarterbacks.
Oh, I see.
And Cam Newton. Okay. So like, and with each and every one of those seasons that Moore played, he had 1,000 yards receiving. So it's not necessarily the receiver in a sense. It's in a sense.
You know, I've never been a Moore guy, man, and I understand the stats. Sometimes you watch something and at the end of the year, you're like, wow, he did that. That's great. That's kind of how I feel about DJ Moore. I'm like, wow, he really did that, because whenever I've had experiences with DJ Moore, he doesn't produce for me.
That's Brandon Cooks too.
Yeah. You're right. You're true. That's true. So, but what you're saying isn't wrong. But I'm definitely not a DJ Moore guy. That didn't move the needle for me when they went and got DJ Moore.
And that's totally fine. I can understand that. But like,
yeah, because DJ Moore is just another Allen Robinson, and they had Allen.
And Allen Robinson is actually decent.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's in Pittsburgh. So that being said, like, I just feel that like we know what Justin Fields can do, but like up to these games to where we are now, he's just not showing it. And
the O-line shit.
Khalil Herbert, we expected to not be great, but at least be acceptable. Rashawn Johnson is probably doing a little bit better than Khalil Herbert.
Oh, yeah, Rashawn gonna take that job, man. Rashawn's gonna take that job. Horns up. Go get that job, Rashawn.
It's been real, Khalil. I'm sorry. That's from the sponsorship of Mike T over here. Like it's done, Khalil Herbert. Prove me wrong. But so with that being said, since we talked about disappointments as far as teams, let's talk about disappointments and surprises for fantasy. Let's try to keep this a little bit more positive. So the question that I have, and it's down here on the bottom, and I didn't mean to put it on the bottom, like scrolling like this, but it is what it is. Who's your biggest surprise and disappointment so far in fantasy? Like there's a lot of hits, and then there's been a lot of misses so far this season. Um, who jumps out? We'll start with the surprises. I'll actually go ahead and start. My biggest surprise so far, and Mike knows about it. Manny probably knows. Well, he knows more about it because of the fact that he's there. My biggest surprise so far has been how much David Montgomery has been actually utilized. And for a moment, like I kind of had the expectation of. We talked about on the show that Montgomery's going to be the bruiser, and Gibbs is the pass catcher. He's gonna take some time. It's gonna take time for Gibbs to get a little bit better. But as far as the run that Montgomery has done, and I think yesterday kind of emphasized the point even more with how they were using him. Like the usage that Montgomery is going through is shockingly amazing to me. But I know that 3 touchdown games, 100+ yard rushing is not gonna be forever. But the fact that they trust in him enough for him to actually be used that way, that's what surprises me the most. And to pick him up in like 7th and 8th rounds of drafts this year, it makes it worth the pick. Manny, who's your surprise?
We talked about Raheem Mostert. The dude's like number 1 overall as a running back. No one was really excited to pick him when you drafted him. You're like, ugh, I guess I got to get Raheem Mostert. But now you got a stud running back so far. So congratulations. So that's all I have to say is Raheem Mostert, biggest surprise for me.
And also congratulations on picking Mike's boy.
You asked, you said that?
Yeah, I did, but it's okay. I can pivot and transition very well.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm good at this. This is what I do. So my number 1 would have been Raheem Mostert as well, and for the same reasons Manny said. Who would have thought he'd be number 1 ranked in running back?
You never said it.
It's in the chat, but it's okay. but my I'm gonna go ahead and transition that to Tank Dell. Then I'm gonna say that's my positive. I didn't think that Tank Dell would have more receiving yards at this point than somebody like Jackson Smith and the Jigba. So that's probably my surprise. And I think that is great. Hopefully he keeps doing what he's doing. But yeah, Tank Dell's kind of coming out of nowhere. And for those who can still get him in your leagues, which I'm pretty sure is nobody, but it's nobody at this point. But those who did get him, great snag. The kid is producing. He looks great. He looks like one of the top rookie wide receivers this year. So if he's on your roster, then good for you.
And we talked about we mainly talked about CJ Stroud on the Sunday show, Mike. And we were talking about if there was anyone to pick up as a quarterback before, and this was before the game started. We talked about if there was anyone to pick in the event that Joe Burrow was not going to play. First of all, it's great that he played. But we looked into the option of Baker Mayfield. We talked about Jimmy Garoppolo, and to me, he's kind of a surprise too. But I'm not going to give him the time today. And the third person we talked about, and you saw my excitement, was like CJ Stroud. Like the fact that Stroud is finally starting to work his way up as far as and let's be perfectly honest, it's mainly because of the fact that the Houston is down. And when Houston is down, of course, there's going to be more pass opportunities. And CJ Stroud is starting to get to his groove. He's getting more reps. He's getting more pass attempts. And because of that, it's making everyone around him fantasy all-stars. Well, maybe not all-stars, but he's a fantasy player. So not only Tank Dell, but also Nico Collins. But we always knew what Nico Collins was going to be.
So Mike did say one that I didn't take, but I want to give him credit. But he said Puka is another one, a surprise. So we didn't say it, but yeah, Mike was telling me how good Puka was, and he called it before everyone else. So you gotta give him props.
BYU zone.
Yep.
Hey, Puka's a beast, man.
So let's go with now with who's your biggest disappointment in fantasy?
Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs.
Okay, Manny, talk about it. Go ahead. Do you think?
I just want to do it because I'm like,
I'm a Gibbs. Yeah, man.
it's not a disappointment to me. I called it.
Well, did you call that Montgomery's going to get 30 carries a game? I mean, in the last game, he got 30 carries last game. 30.
I know. I said that I'm not on Gibbs because of Montgomery.
And then Will made a comment where Gibbs wasn't doing that well. He was averaging 6 yards a carry. So he was doing just fine. Just give him the ball.
The fundamentals.
Give him the ball. Yeah, the fundamentals. So it seems like back to the Montgomery thing, but it seems like Montgomery's kind of gotten into that Jameson Williams role. So good for anybody that picked him up. But he has more touchdowns this year than he had all last year. So no one saw this coming. So Will's right.
Do you see the offensive line that Bears have?
I mean, that's true. That's true.
But the Bears, come on. Do you really expect him to be
the Bears? But did you think? I don't know. David Montgomery, he's had good years with the Bears. He had good years with the Bears, so we know he can play.
It was like 2 years. Yeah,
I don't think very many people. No one saw this coming. If we saw this coming, he was going to get the volume that he's getting, and we knew this was coming. He would have been taken in the second round instead of Jahmyr Gibbs. So no one saw this coming. And I hate Dan Campbell. I hate you because you need to give Jahmyr Gibbs the ball. It was garbage time yesterday, and you could have gave that man his first touchdown, career touchdown. I'm needing it. Jahmyr Gibbs owners are needing it, and you give Montgomery the ball again. 30 times, man. 30. I hate you, Dan Campbell.
Jahmyr Gibbs, the only thing is Jahmyr Gibbs is not that bruiser of a back. We know this.
He doesn't need to be to run in from the one. Just give him the ball. Give him a shot.
He had one whole game to himself. He had
did, but I'm not talking about that game. I'm talking about last night.
He only played like 3 games prior to that.
Game script is different. Situations are different. We can't go back in the past, but I can go back in the past as far as last night goes. You're up by all those points. Give the man the ball. Give him the ball. Let us eat too. Can some Gibbs owners eat? Can we eat? They
were only up 14.
Man, let him eat, man. Why draft him in the first? I'm tired. I hate the Bears. I hate the Lions. I hate the Lions. Why draft him in the first round if you're not going to utilize the guy?
And trade DeAndre Swift. You see how he's doing?
And he's eating too. Yeah, like what's wrong with these people? What is wrong with these people? But they're winning, so I mean, it is what it is. But I cannot stand the Lions.
They beat the Falcons and the Packers. So let's calm down.
I hate Dan Campbell right now. Or no, maybe not even Dan. I hate Ben Johnson. He's the one calling the plays. I hate Ben Johnson. I hate you right now.
Shout out for Mike being like the official ambassador for all Jahmyr Gibbs owners.
I'm gonna hold it down for Jahmyr Gibbs. When Jahmyr Gibbs gets that gold jacket and he's getting inducted into Canton, remember that I called it. All right, so I'm gonna hold it down for career wise. I'm holding it down for Jahmyr Gibbs. Unless he gets straight to the NFC East, then I no longer care about Jahmyr Gibbs at that point. They'll ever play for Philly, Washington, or New York. As long as you don't do that, I got your back, bro.
Gibbs to the Giants confirmed. Manny, give me your. Did you get your guy yet?
Well, I said Jahmyr Gibbs, but I was really.
You both said Gibbs.
He was just teasing me. He was just teasing me.
No, I was teasing. Mine's Justin Fields because I didn't think he was going to be one of the worst quarterbacks as of right now. I think if you're an owner, you got to hold on to him. Maybe put him on the bench. But hold on to him because week 6 he took off and won people championships. And I feel like they might get it together. He's going to have to start running because right now they're trying to keep him in the pocket. Mm-hmm. But he's going to go back to old Justin Fields last year's and he's going to be running, which Mike says he's not a runner. But if he's got to run for his life, so there's a difference.
Well, you said I said Justin Fields isn't a runner? He's a runner. He's
not like
he's a track star. He's all that.
But he's a good quarterback.
Justin Fields?
Yeah.
He can throw, but
don't turn on your guy.
You're right.
Don't turn on your guy.
Yeah. He's deadly accurate, man. He's great.
Now, I am gonna agree with at least holding on to him. I wouldn't drop him because there's too much goodness in Justin Fields to not let him go. So like, yeah, drop him for like I said, I was surprised. I've been kind of surprised with Jimmy Garoppolo this year. And it's all because of Devontae Adams, let's be honest.
Garrett Wilson's another disappointment.
Ben,
Sorry.
Ben kind of, yeah, he is. Well, okay, so that's
not his fault, but he is.
In a sense, it's not his fault. Yeah, I was about to say that's not his fault.
Scoreboard team.
You could also pick up like a Brock Purdy, but like he's very volatile. You don't know when he's going to blow up and when he is. And like I said, CJ Stroud, if he's still out there, at least try. If not, then sucks. So my personal disappointment has been Dameon Pierce. The crew here knows how much I was on him last year, and that was based on the value that he was being drafted in, anywhere between like the 6th and the 7th round last year. Now this year he was about like what, 3rd, 4th round, just about. And the amount of volume that he's getting is actually not only deterred because of the fact that Houston is always behind, but also because of the fact Devin Singletary is cutting in to a lot of that time and to a lot of that rushing. And as long as Houston is behind, which is unfortunately to say a lot, they're not going to show Dameon Pierce off as a 3-down back that we know that he's at least capable of doing. And just like we stated before, with the rises of Nico Collins, with the rise of Tank Dell, and like I said, Devin Singletary is cutting in. Like, they don't need Dameon Pierce as much as they expected them to use him for. I remember they were talking about him being used as a pass catching back this year, or at least trying to. He was not that last year, but at this time they're not showing it at all for Dameon Pierce, and it really sucks because I did want him to do well this year. So maybe he picks it up later.
I got a question for you.
Go for it.
I'm surprised you didn't say this has been your I would say like sweetheart of the NFL, but it's Ramondre Stevenson.
I'm not saying. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, like, the draft capital you gave for him, he hasn't really produced. So that's why I was curious why you didn't say him.
Ramondre Stevenson and Jahmyr Gibbs were drafted around the same time. Who's having a better year this year?
Oh, no. They're both disappointments in my opinion.
But out of the two, who's actually getting more?
Well, yeah, it's easy to say Gibbs. Gibbs just hasn't done anything.
No, that's the point that I'm making. Like with me, I had a different expectation with Stevenson over Gibbs. Gibbs was still a question. Gibbs was a question mark. We knew that Stevenson was going to play like was going to have a decent role, but like I'm not actually to me Stevenson is having the better season than Gibbs right now. But the only disappointment to me for Stevenson this year was just the last game when Elliott did come in and actually did get a lot of rushing. But like I don't see it being a consistent thing, number one, and number two, he's been producing a lot more than Gibbs. Okay. So that's and way better than Dameon Pierce, which is the guy I despise right now.
Okay, I was just curious.
No, it's understandable. That's why we're here. And another reason why we're here is picking our positional likes for this week. And yeah, I put in 3. I didn't feel like putting in 4. So let's go ahead and actually try that again. So doing one of those.
I never got to say who I didn't like, man.
Since
you guys want to call me out, since when I mispronounce someone's name, we're calling people out. I never got to say who I didn't like.
I thought you were saying Gibbs.
No, I was just making fun of you.
No,
okay. I love Gibbs. I love Gibbs.
Okay,
Detroit doesn't like Gibbs.
Spotlight. Look, it's all yours. Go for
it. Detroit doesn't like Gibbs. I love Gibbs. No, my biggest disappointment so far, with like I said, with my positive, I wanted to go with Raheem Mostert, but my co-host beat me to it. I was gonna actually say Jackson Smith-Njigba for my disappointment, but since I used the Tank Dell, comparison. I wanted to compare that, so I'm going to pivot. So, for me, it's actually going to be Miles Sanders. It was somebody who thought that he would probably be a little more productive than he has been, even though his last game wasn't too bad. And I say this with a caveat, though, because he does have Miami in week 6 coming up and Houston in week 8. So I do think if you can get him or buy him for low, I think right now is the time to probably go ahead and get Miles Sanders, because I think he might do really good in week 6 and really good in week 8. He has a bye week in week 7. But Miles Sanders is somebody who I would say has been a disappointment for me. The volume is there, but he hasn't produced like I thought he would produce. I'm going to keep it sweet and simple since you passed up on your boy.
I'm sorry.
I don't know where Manny is, but
I took your player. I'm sorry.
You're good.
I gotta blame Manny for it because of the fact.
Come back.
Because
Enjoy the show, man. You're good.
All right, so
You're
I kind of blame him for that. So that's all right. Yeah, no doubt. Like, I mean, we kind of didn't know what to expect with Miles Sanders anyway in the first place with Carolina. There was even a point where I stated that like Miles Sanders might be the leading guy in targets, and the guy's a running back. But Adam Thielen is shutting us up right now, isn't he?
He is, but one thing that you mentioned, and that's actually was an astute observation, is the fact that he has over 20 receptions as a running back, so he's getting a lot of targets in the passing game. If you're in a PPR league, I think Miles Sanders can be beneficial. Like I said, because he has some good matchups coming up in a couple weeks.
He has a good matchup this week.
Who's he playing this week?
But the problem is he just came up with a groin injury.
Let me see who he's playing this week real quick. Did he? I didn't know about that. So you might have more inside information than me. But who's he playing next week? Minnesota?
Yeah, they play Minnesota. And Minnesota's defense is pretty.
They're ranked 22nd against the run, which is not – it's not a favorable matchup, but at the same time, I guess you're saying you don't believe in what? You don't believe in Minnesota's run defense, what you're saying. Okay.
No.
Got you. Hey, deploy him. Manny says he's good to go if the groin injury isn't affecting him.
If Miles Sanders doesn't play, go get Chuba Hubbard right now. That's how confident I am in their run game this week.
Yes.
Well, Chuba Hubbard was always good. He will probably be, I would say, the top 3, or maybe not top 3. I'll say top 5 handcuffs in the league.
Yeah, I agree.
Hubbard, what was that?
I agree.
Oh, okay. I thought you said something else. Sorry. But definitely top 5 for handcuffs. Can I name the other 4? Probably not. But anyway, moving on. So at least Jalen Warren won. Okay, there you go. So who do we like this week? Let's go ahead and start off with.
I'll start. Because I got wide receiver, so I can't take your player.
Manny, go ahead.
You're good, man.
All right. So first, we got Devontae Adams. This dude is a reception machine. The dude's been targeted so much, and I hated that I said in the beginning of the season that I wouldn't target any Raiders players because he's been eating. I think we all said it. But Chargers, they play the Chargers. Chargers pass defense is pretty bad. And I think that Devontae Adams is going to feed this weekend. So that's like the high tier. My mid tier is Tank Dell. We talked about him. Tank Dell. Houston Texans play the Steelers. The Steelers' pass defense is kind of horrible. You wouldn't think that because when you think of Steelers, you think of defense. Their pass defense has been horrible. So I think Tank Dell eats. And then my bottom tier, and this was actually going to be my mid tier, but how he's playing, it's kind of like my last shot with him is DJ Moore because the Broncos defense, you saw what Tyreek Hill and the Miami Dolphins did to them. DJ Moore better put some numbers up this week. So those are my 3.
You're really hoping for that to happen.
Well, it's like one of those things like you play by their defense and DJ Moore, this is the game. And Justin Fields, the same. This is your game.
You're pretty much saying if this isn't it, then it will never happen.
Yeah, Sam Howell put up some decent numbers against them. So
Sam Howell's kind of a beast. I dig Sam Howell.
Oh, Justin, he's not
those 4 interceptions he did last game.
Sam Howell is not a beast. But I feel you though. I know what you mean, but he's not.
Like I said, those four interceptions he did last game was What the hell was that? And then again, it was against Buffalo. Mike, who do you got for your three?
For my three, man, or for my positional likes, so since I handle the running back position, let me give you guys some gems. So I'm gonna help you guys win your league this year or this week. Now I don't know about this year. Don't put that on me. I'm gonna help you win your league this week. I'm gonna help you win your matchup. Yeah, I'm gonna help you win your matchup this week. So my number one guy who I like is Kenneth Walker against the Giants. The Giants have a really porous run defense. Everybody can do whatever they want to do against New York. So I think Kenneth Walker has shown his ability to be able to be productive. I know that's Manny's guy, and I think he's going to eat this week against the Giants. My second guy I'm going to go with is Bijan Robinson. While the Jaguars do have a pretty decent run defense, I think Bijan Robinson's matchup proof. I wasn't as high on him in the beginning of the year because I wasn't sure that the Falcons were going to utilize him in the way that they've been utilizing him, but he can do whatever he wants to do, and I think that he's going to have a really big week too. So I would go with Kenneth Walker. I would go with Kenneth Walker, Bijan Robinson. Honorable mention to Manny's boy James Cook. I also feel like he's going to have a productive week as well.
Very nice, very good answers. For me personally, my positionals is I'm at quarterback. Is first one I'm going to pick out is I'm going to say Anthony Richardson versus the LA Rams. This is not because of the fact that I did the crazy prediction and he almost actually ended up getting it, but solely because I don't trust the Rams defense at all. There's nothing there that makes me too scared of them. Just Aaron Donald, but Aaron Donald can't do it all. So I feel Anthony Richardson can have the availability to actually make some plays, get his rushing back, and from there hopefully not get concussed again. And I mean that with sincerity. Go get him, Anthony. That's pretty much what I'm saying. Second, I am going to give a bounce back to Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow was okay this previous game, but I think him playing against the Tennessee Titans, one of the worst defensive teams in the league, one of the most who the hell are these guys type of teams in the league. Joe Burrow, there's based on his first two games, his last game was okay, but compared to those first two games, there's nowhere else that he can go but up. And Joe Burrow could probably do four touchdowns against this team, and if he does, I'd love to see it. And my maybe not surprised, but I kind of talked about him earlier today. My third quarterback is going to be Brock Purdy against Arizona, and I think this solely goes based on teams play a lot better and a lot differently when it comes to rival games and rivalry. And with a rivalry game, there's more trick plays, there's more confusion and things like that. But Brock Purdy he's not great. He's not terrible. He's consistent. He's consistently average. And there's some quarterbacks that people are playing right now that can't even get that at all. So that being said, plus he gets Brandon Ayuk back this week, and that's his favorite target. So if there's anyone that you have to look at right now, kind of on the low end with some kind of acceptable upside, it's going to be Brock Purdy against that terrible, terrible Arizona defense. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. This is pretty much our structure for the show is each and every week. From here, it's going to be just another start and sit show, another advice show on Sunday mornings with myself and Mike, and probably with a third of Manny. I don't know. We'll see. And that's pretty much it. This was a really good show. Had fun with you guys. And who wants to go first?
I can go.
Four. Mike T, what up?
Hey, great night, guys. Great show. Me and my boy Jameson Wilson, we're about to go hang out, go see what we can get into. I'm hoping that he has some kind of ideas of things to do tonight. I don't really know. I live out here in California where there's not much to do. Actually, there's a whole bunch of things to do. So I'm gonna holler at my man Jameson. He said it's okay if I call him Wilson tonight, and that's what we're gonna do. So but in the meantime, I want to give a shout out to my man Manny Give a shout out to my man Will. It was a great show. I had fun with you guys, and let's do it again next week, guys.
Jameson Wilson, you can bet on that. 4, Manny B and Manny. 4, Manny B and Manny, that is on mute.
I love Mike and Will, but I'm not going to give them a shout out today because today I'm going to give myself a shout out because who's in first place in the AFC South? My Colts, my AFC team, South team. I don't even care. My Colts, Anthony Richardson. I called it. I'm pumped. Let's go. They're going to go out and get a dub. About to be 3-1. And my other team, the Jags, are a fraud team, like I said.
I'm not saying, but I am going to say that you kind of reminded me of a person that I saw in one of the fantasy football groups that ended up boosting. You guys crapped on me because I drafted Keenan Allen over Devontae Smith and T. Higgins, and look at me now. Keenan Allen's the number 1 guy in the NFL. I'm sorry. That's what that reminded me of.
Colts were bottom. Everyone thought they were going to be one of the worst teams, and they're competing out there. They're the best team in that division, I think. You did say Anthony Richardson. You got to be careful because you know how I keep up with the injury reports that are kind of strange that you don't think about. I think there's 3 out of the 5 offensive linemen that are hurt. So just be on the lookout on that one.
Okay, actually, you just reminded me. Mike, I want to set something up real quick, but first, can you or I want us to set something up real quick, but first, Mike, tell me about the guy that you were telling me about earlier today from Baltimore that may make a splash in the fantasy world.
Here we go. Welcome world to Mr. Keaton Mitchell. From what I'm hearing and from what I'm understanding, I see a lot of people on Yahoo leagues, which I'm heavily invested in, picking Keaton Mitchell up. I don't exactly know why, but I do know that Keaton Mitchell is a very explosive player. I don't know if maybe there's something wrong with Gus Edwards that I don't know about. I know Will had kind of sparked or told me that Gus Edwards wasn't the one who's in concussion protocol. It was actually Justice Hill. I was thinking it was Gus. So yeah, Keaton Mitchell, a lot of people are snatching him up right now. I know he's really explosive, but I don't know how he will be utilized. He's on the IR right now, so he's somebody you would probably want to stash. But if you can go get Keaton Mitchell, if you need running back help, he might help you later on in the year. This is a deep, deep dive. So if he ends up paying dividends for you guys, leave it in the comments. You heard it here first.
Okay. And what I wanted to set up real quick, which is something that Manny just reminded me of. With some people on the chat, some people on the comments, there have been some people who talked a little bit of mess about their teams, about whether or not if they're the top or if they're going to be the top, or just simply disagree with what we say. So this one is dedicated to that one that actually ended up talking about the Atlanta Falcons. So,
we're going there. Go there.
You know why not? Is he? Did he reach this far to the show? Probably not. But if not, I'll make a post about it.
We definitely lost him. We definitely lost him after that show.
So pretty much, according to this guy, the Falcons are going to be both the top 15 in both offensive and defensive overall. So I'm going to give him his flowers for just a little bit because it looks like that the defense, surprisingly, as far as yardage, as far as overall, they're actually within that echelon of the top 15, surprisingly. But offense,
they cheeks.
But the offense, let's talk about the offense for a second. So, and this is generally overall. As far as they're averaging 283 yards per game on the offense. And that is good for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is the 8th worst for passing. For passing yards total, they are the 4th worst with under 500 yards. You had 5 games to do it, and you're still doing terrible at that. As far as rushing, we're going to give you a little bit. We'll give you a little bit of credit because they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They are 12th in that. But as far as scoring, Atlanta, you got to do something about that. Because I see that you're on the bottom third when it comes to that. But you know what? It's a short season. We only just got started. We can go ahead and see if it is possible that the Atlanta Falcons can indeed be a top 15 in both offense and defense. But as of right now, I don't know what to tell you.
We keep receipts on this show, son.
And we're gonna keep on doing it. I might have to do a close up with Mike just saying that. Say that one more time and say it like in a more serious, hardcore way.
We keep receipts on this show, son.
Let's go.
No,
with the man co-sign.
Motherfucker.
No, man. I mean, whoever that dude was, he was definitely flying that flag. And I went to college in Atlanta, so like I said, I love the city, but we keep receipts on this show. So,
F-bombs. We'll never get monetized because of you dropping F-bombs.
Oh, you can edit that. You can do the beeps. It makes it funny.
With the glasses on too, so that makes it even funny.
Mike, do you know? This is how we ended. Do you know CJ Stroud's song?
No.
His dance? You know his dance song?
I mean, I saw him doing a little jig, but I don't know his dance.
Here it goes.
Right. Let me see you do it. Do it. Right. Do it. Do it.
I feel that. I feel that in my heart. In my corazon, I feel that.
There we go. I was
know?
hoping you knew it. I was just playing it.
He's already the greatest Ohio State quarterback of all time. Already.
All the time.
Finally got somebody.
In 3 games.
We finally got somebody. Let's go.
You gotta love this show. It's your boy Will. You have a good night. You have a good morning. You have a good afternoon. Whenever you guys are listening, whenever you guys are watching this. Sunday morning, 8:15. The Sit and Start show. The Survivor pools. The Next Up parlay. You guys pay attention. We'll see you guys next week. Until then.
Right. Let me see you do it. Do it. Right. Do
Hold on.
it.
Forget to do something. We gotta.
Do it.
Hey.
That's us. That's the thumbnail, maybe. Anyway, you guys have a good night. We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys on Sunday. Have a good night. Later.